morning. It is currently the 5th of October 2014, making this update right around 09 Japan Standard Time. That's about 00 Universal Standard Time for those of you watching around the world. Our continued coverage of Typhoon, Phanfone. Also, we're still watching Phanfone out near Guam, but in this update, we are concentrating on this storm system. You can see here on the radar imagery, you have a very large eye starting to develop here, that dry air floating around the western periphery of it. So those of you in Okinawa, storm system has passed. You're still seeing some gusty winds due to the interaction with a high pressure off towards the east. So I would not head out to the beach by no means, but now our storm system is farther off towards the north, impacting the Yamami Islands. Actually, winds out here reported gusting well over 150 kilometers per hour. Seen any reports of damage for these southern islands of Japan, but I'm sure there is likely some superficial damage, down branches, possibly down power lines. But as far as the structures, they are definitely built for these types of winds. Have not seen any reports of injuries or casualties at this time. That's some fantastic news. This is still a very powerful storm system. Winds of 110 gusting up to 135 knots via the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. That's the U.S. military. Meteorological Agency also has winds about 157 gusting up to 222 kilometers per hour. And the storm is now moving northwest at 17, but it is going to start to make that northeasterly churn here through your Sunday or late morning into early afternoon. Key thing to note, though, it is expected to weaken. You can see even here on the right, the wind speeds start to go down. That's from JMA. We can even switch this over to JTWC. And from this point on, no further intensification is going to be occurring with the storm system. It's encountering high vertical wind shear, moving out of its environment of the tropics. That means lower sea surface temperatures, but it's still a fairly potent storm system. You can see here, actually, 157 gusting up to 194 kilometers per hour during the late evening hours here on Sunday. By the early morning hours, we still have typhoon strength winds pushing up and down the coastline. This is actually the max wind gust from the ECMWF model. Really can use this quite accurately at this point. We're only talking about 24 to 48 hour forecast. Thing you have to take into account is that winds could be higher in some areas of funneling, also right near the immediate coast. But as we watch this move off towards the northeast, it moves away from the Yamami Islands here during your morning hours on Sunday, and then pushes off towards the northeast, impacting the Nagoya area, and then the very high winds already setting in during the early morning hours on Monday. So in less than 24 hours, the Tokyo area could already start to see tropical storm strength winds. That's actually why I do believe the Yokosuka Navy base during the morning hours here already went to T-Core 1. Winds not quite picked up yet. If we could scroll back here, look at this. Winds actually pretty decent. I'm looking out my window here in Tokyo. Some showers continuing to occur out there, but nothing too serious, at least at this time. Also over towards the west into Shizuoka, we have some scattered showers. This is from Roman. He's going to be sharing video with us as well. Area. So with the winds not quite that high at this time, it's our last minute to make preparations. I was out on my balcony this morning taking stuff down. You should be doing the same. At the very least, taking in any light items from outside, but especially near the coast. I mean, things like a trampoline. We always hear, especially with Americans, they love their trampolines out on the lawns. Those things fly like crazy, so that's something to keep an eye on. Take a look at the overall precipitation. It's not just the winds, but the rain is going to be a major impact, especially for the Key Peninsula. Looking at the threat of flooding here, I would not be surprised if JMA issues emergency warnings, evacuation advisories being issued there. Also, as the storm system tracks towards the northeast, outside the Kanto Plain, these mountains are going to see some heavy rain. That means the water is going to flow downstream. Rivers like the Tama River, that's going to be flooded, and we're looking at the threat of some major flooding in some of these areas across Tokyo, especially in the riverbeds. Good news, very great flood defense here in the Kanto Plain, but still could be rather dangerous. So a lot happening here. If you are ahead of this, definitely really want to be taking this serious. Just follow the local warnings here from JMA, also the Joint Typhoon Warning Center if you are part of the U.S. military out there. Also, we are continuing to watch Phanfone. That's approaching Guam and Saipan. I'm going to put out a separate update on that. I know that James Reynolds, he's out there now getting ready to document this storm, so it's going to be a rough go. I'm going to put out a separate update on that one, but the big topic, at least for my area here in Japan, is going to be Phanfone. That one's a racy up the coast. It's going to be a nasty day here on Monday. All right, guys, stay safe out there, and thanks for watching. Bye.